Hello and welcome to this midweek reflection for the week of June the 15th. I'm going to light the Christ candle here in my office and invite you to light a candle in your own home if you haven't already done so. This is the light that we sometimes say is the light that calls us beloved. And this light is a light that shone in the person that we know as Jesus. It shines in the presence of the one we call the Christ. And it shines in each and every one of us and is in us a sign of the Christ made manifest in us. On Sunday of this week, the Black Clergy Network of the United Church of Canada hosted an online worship service called United Against Racism. And one of the speakers at that online gathering was the Reverend Teresa Samuel. She used for her reflection words from the 139th Psalm, Psalm 139. She used the words that say in that psalm that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Those words made me think about the theme that we've been engaged in here at Mount Seymour United Church these last few weeks, the theme of being beguiled by beauty. And I thought her words dovetailed quite wonderfully with the way that we have been talking about our inherent beauty, the beauty in which everything was created, and particularly the beauty in which we as human beings were created, each and every one of us. She talked about the ugly truth that we all know about, the ugly truth of racism, the way that racism has caused hurt across generations. And then she talked about how that ugly truth can also lead to what she referred to as an even uglier lie. The even uglier lie that comes about whenever we feel bad about who we are. And she referred to the way that racialized people certainly can feel bad about themselves, that you can feel bad about yourself if you are a racialized person. When you experience racism, whether that's overt racism or whether it's more subtle forms of racism, when you have an awareness of being caught up in systems of racism. She also talked about how white people, so people like me, my ears perked up at this part, how white people can also feel bad about ourselves or bad about who we are as a result of racism. When we come to realize that we have gained, that we have benefited at the cost of other people simply because of the system in which we are caught up in, this dominant system of that preferences the white colored people. And she talked about how when white people feel guilty about being caught up in that system and about the way that we have gained benefit at the cost to others, that it can be quite disempowering. And in fact, this ugly lie for all of us, regardless of the color of our skin, whenever we feel bad about ourselves and when that comes as a result of racism, that it is disempowering for us. It doesn't allow us to be who we were created to be, and it doesn't allow us to do what we need to do to overcome the unjust systems in which we live and which create the ugly truth of our lives. And so I want to invite us today to listen to the words of Psalm 139. Before we do that, I want to invite you to take a moment, as we have done the last few weeks, for those of you who have been listening to these recordings, to declare our state, to just take a moment to check in with yourself. How are you feeling today? How do you feel about yourself today as you come to this time? How is it with you? And then to allow, however that is, to inform a grace. Do you come seeking the grace of knowing more deeply your own belovedness? Do you seek the grace of being able to see yourself as you truly are? Perhaps you are seeking the grace of calm, or the grace of deeper trust, or perhaps simply the grace of hearing what it is that is wanting to be heard today, what it is that God is wanting you to hear, what it is that the divine is speaking to you. What is the grace that you are seeking in this time today? And then I invite you to listen to a word or a phrase that speaks to you in Psalm 139, and I'm reading the first 18 verses. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high that I cannot attain it. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day, for darkness is as light to you. For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, that I know very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes beheld my unformed substance, and in your book were written all the days that were formed for me, when none of them as yet existed. How weighty to me are your thoughts, O God! How vast the sum of them! I try to count them, they are more than sand. I come to the end, I am still with you. Another translation says, I come awake, I am still with you. You might want to pause the recording at this point and write some reflections, do some journaling on what you've heard in the reading today, or you might want to reflect on these questions. You might want to do both. How is it that you want to be known? What is it that you want to be known for? And what is it about you that is wonderful? Make a list. Make a list of all the ways that you are wonderfully made, Make a list of all the wonderful things about you. You don't need to share it with anyone. It can just be your list for yourself. How is it that you are wonderful? And if nothing comes immediately to mind, sit with it for a while until something does come. And then, how is it that you can use the ways that you are wonderful, whatever is wonderful about you? How can you use whatever is wonderful about you to make the world a better place, to make a difference in the world? How is it that you can use whatever it is that's wonderful about you, and maybe uniquely wonderful about you, to take a stand, to take your rightful place in the world, and in so doing to be about doing in the world what God wants us to be about doing, about making the world more just and fair and compassionate and loving, and making the world a place where we really do all know how wonderfully and fearfully we are made. I'm going to close in song. I invite you to sing along with me, to do that in unison, or to sing the opposite part to me. This is Hold Us in Your Grace. Hold us in your grace, O God, hold us in your grace. Hold us in your grace, O God, hold us in your grace. Hold us in your grace. Hold us in your grace. Hold us in your grace, O God, hold us in your grace. Hold us in your grace, O God, hold us in your grace. Hold us in your grace. Hold us in your grace. May God bless you with wisdom and wonder as you continue to ponder your own answers to the questions for today, as you continue to reflect on the sacred words that we have shared, that we've listened to, and as you continue to live and grow ever more deeply into who you were created to be. May God bless you and keep you this day and in the days to come. Amen.